Tangled a bit longer, Astoria got out a bit. Main Stage and Sully the stablemates. Weather With You, well in the market. Oceans 14, second down at Geelong behind Weather With You. Grey Cliff very much in the market at $10.20. And speaking of Grey Cliff, Matt Kamani has a runner in the Derby. Melbourne
trainer in David Payne, who really knows how to train a stayer. So David's had him flying in Sydney. He's won his last two up there over 1,800 and 2,000 metres. He steps up here to the 25. I don't think the distance is going to be a problem for him. He's a really tough racehorse. He'll be thereabouts with a couple of hundred metres to run. Whether he can hold them off, well, that's the question.
Got plenty of size and scope about him. He is a Group 1 winner in the field, and an impressive one at that. You really can't knock his form in any way. I think he is bred for the distance, and to me, he's the one with form on the book. He's the one that they all have to beat, essentially.
Tangled, well, Chris Waller often takes a 2-year-old to Queensland and it works, and he's done this with Tangled and he's had a good spring.
He's a tough, honest horse, Tangled. He's not really bred to go the 2,500 metres. He's by Snitzel, and they're more milers and sprinters, but he's got winkers on for the first time here. Look, the way he races, I think the distance will be okay. It's just whether he can grind out the last couple of hundred metres. That's a question, but I think he's capable of doing it.
Richo James Cummings won it last year. Now, Astoria got away from a handler this morning, I believe, but everything's okay?
Everything's okay with Astoria. That's right, escaped from the handler, only went a small distance. Now, he was really on his toes when he first arrived in the mounting out. He's settled down a little bit now, which is terrific. They've taken the winkers off. I really liked his run in the Geelong Classic. He had a big weight there. He got back and he made terrific ground when it was really hard to do that. Flemington will suit. Draws low, really hard to beat.
Karen McAvoy's had 5 seconds in the race. Richo, can he break through on the outside of Eshtarak?
Well, you talk about a horse who's been on the toes, and that was the previous horse. Have a look how relaxed this big stayer is. Here's a horse that will run 2,500 metres at Flemington on his ear. I thought he was terrific in the Norman Robinson. Great value in the race.
Well, James, Main Stage, a lot talked about Dusty Martin, but what about the horse himself?
Look, it raced flat last start. It just didn't show a turn of foot. The previous run in the UCI was really big. It might have even been too big. They went out 9 lengths faster than standard in that. They still ran home in good time. So he's a young horse. They have to get him to bounce back, and that's pretty hard to do.
And James, the stablemate, by the same side, by the way, Reliable Man. We'd like those reliable mans. How does Sully look?
Yeah, I like him more. Look, he beat Astoria home at his past too, and that horse ran well in the Geelong Classic. He's just got a sense of timing about him. He might be in that last wave to attack. Query for me is whether he could trap wide out of that wide gate. So I'd like to see him if he could slot in somewhere, but that's an if.
Richo, Mark Zara fresh off a Group 1 today, but Weather With You's had a long Australian campaign for the New Zealander, hasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly has. He finally got his first win, and his coat came through perfectly for the Geelong Classic. Cheska, he over-raced a touch in the Geelong Classic. That's my worry with those blinkers on.
I don't know. I thought he possibly over-raced a little bit, but I did like the way he tracked into the race. The best of all of them. He was the last one to come under pressure. And for me, over the extra distance, yes, he will have to settle with the blinkers on. But if he manages to settle, I think he'll be really taking the rest of the field up to it. And it'll probably be one that might have a bit of extra turn of foot late that might run him down. But gosh, the Murray Baker stable, you really have to underestimate your peril.
Number 8, Abiro's got out to pretty long odds. Well, 3 starts ago, he's actually favoured in the Derby trial here, a race that's been introduced and was very successful. He's run okay since then, both at Flemington and Caulfield, where he was 4th. But look, he's a roughie with just a place chance. Passaro, Cheska, well, the trainer and the jockey have both won a Derby. He was okay at Moonee Valley.
Yeah, he was okay. And when you consider he was 4th to Aloysia, yes, nearly beaten by 10 lengths. That reads okay for this, I'd say. Physically, he's one of the smaller horses in this field. He's quite compact. He's quite close coupled. He's by Piero, who can get horses to stay over a bit further. And his dam is by Galileo, so plenty of stamina in the pedigree.
Number 10, Justice Faith, always shown some ability. He was, as a 2-year-old, he ran 2nd in the 1,800 metre, the long 2-year-old race behind Anchor Bid, who was favourite for the Oaks at that stage. But look, a shock if he wins. His run at Geelong was okay. David Hayes says he should have run 2nd. Oceans 14, actually, Richo did run 2nd, and he looks progressive.
Yeah, he certainly is progressive. And Bruce, you're our stats man. I can't remember a horse being so lightly raced into a Derby. Can you win a Derby at only its 4th start? Well, he certainly put the writing on the wall with his terrific performance in the Geelong Classic. And James, in the past, many people have potted the Geelong Classic form. This year, I actually think it will hold up.
It might not be that strong a year this year for the Derby, so it's half a chance to. But look, you thought if he was going to beat Weather With You, it might have been last start. He had that cheap run, he got a split, probably had his chance, but he was having his first go there at the trip. Here he'll get the right run in the race if he's good enough, but as you said, it's his first preparation to the races, so it's a big ask.
It hasn't been the best guy. We saw Grey Cliff earlier. Now Johnny Vinco, stablemate of Sully and Main Stage, got the best barrier. Ran well here 2 starts ago. He was well back in the Geelong Classic. Nothing too hard. He's number 14. There's Basta, by the way, without a ride in the Cup at the moment after winning on Kiss Montaigne. Of course, with John Snow coming out of the Cup. Nothing too hard. So plenty of all too hards and also Piero's in the race. Look, he was 7th at Geelong at 50-1. Couldn't have him. Now, what about Rocco Rail? Richo, you were smoozing up to Tony McAvoy about this one earlier.
Yeah, well, he does a lot wrong, and that's your big worry with this gelded son of High Chaparral, but they're taking him straight out, even though he's horse number 15. He was held up and ended up being wide at Geelong. Look, he could be a blowout into a place, a horse like Rocco Rail. And just interesting, we saw Bo Mertens before there, Bruce, riding Nothing Too Hard, a big outsider here. Gee, a little rumour around to say that Bo Mertens might end up being the rider of Kiss Montaigne.
Gee, that would be something. What a season he had last year, Bo, where he nearly won the premiership. And Wolf Tone, well, his grandfather, Monsieur, is the sire of Derby winners, but I don't think he's quite ready. I think he's quite a promising horse. Richo, how do you sum it all up?
All right, how to sum it up and actually how to find the horse that gets the best run in the race, James. I think that's the first query.
Absolutely. Look, I was with Sully, but I've gone a bit lukewarm on him because I just think he's going to be one that peels out wide, and if you get a fan out 6 or 7 wide around that turn, I just haven't seen enough make ground to think you can do that. So somebody gets a cheap run, like Weather With You, Ocean's 14, they'll both get cheap runs, but it's a tricky race.
And Astoria drawn low. I can see him getting a nice run. If he can settle, he was certainly on his toes when he came into the yard.
He was, wasn't he? He had the 2 handlers on him, dragging them around. And I did notice the favourite Ace High was having a little bit of a whinny, which if they're a colt in this kind of environment, they can do. Essentially, it means that their head might not be fully on the job. But it's all going to come down to pace, isn't it? If there's plenty of pace, it's going to become a test of stamina. And really, the horse that can stay the best will win. Who that is going to be intriguing. And I obviously hope it's Grey Cliff.
You're barracking for your brother, Matt Kamani, and I reckon the punters are with the one right up at the top here, Jared, in the Group 1 winner, Ace High.
Yeah, the favourites changed about 3 times in the last 10 minutes, Richo, but look, Ace High and Weather With You been jostling for favouritism. As it stands, just Ace High ahead of Tangled and Weather With You, and also Sully. Sully was 9 into 7, just back to $8. Grey Cliff there for the Kamani team, $15 he could have got about it at the start of the week. And Main Stage, the power of Dustin Martin. It's been a drifter with tab fixed odds, but it's just about the tote favourite on Super Tab. This race being the Derby also qualifies for our Group 1 or Group 2 insurance offer. Have a bet on Derby Day on your tab account, the Group 1 or 2 races, and your horse runs 2nd or 3rd, cash back up to $50. It is a wide open Derby, Bruce.
That's for sure, Jared. It's been that sort of day, though, hasn't it? Close finishes, big wide betting, hard to pick a favourite, let alone a winner. And there is Ace High. Can he make it 3 in a row and win the biggest 3-year-old race of them all, the Derby? We're about to find out.